What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Smackdown live reaction video where, wow, you may not like the match because you think AJ Styles deserves a better opponent. I will not disagree with you, but when you think about the long-term story, and everybody wants story at WrestleMania instead of AJ just after losing the title, somebody walks up to him and be like, I could beat you at WrestleMania. You have a guy that pushed him all year, that was giving him shit all year, and finally AJ snaps. He snapped last week when the opportunity cost from him, when he lost his WrestleMania main event with a guy like Bray Wyatt, an opportunity that was pseudo-presented because of the fact that Randy Orton withdrew, and tonight AJ Styles lost it. AJ Styles went after the commissioner himself, Shane McMahon, and beat him, and these are my honest reactions. Let's go first. I want to start with the big one right away. Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles is now confirmed. 100%, it's in the books. It's happening at WrestleMania. Again, I'm not going to argue with anybody that wants to see AJ Styles face anybody else. Like Corey Graves put out the statement that, I don't really want to see that match. AJ Styles is a main event caliber talent. He can fight anybody. Again, I 100% agree. But if AJ's on Smackdown and they were always going to do Bray versus Randy, it is not a bad pivot to go against Shane. Wrestling-wise, yes, it's a bad pivot. But story-wise, it's not, especially when you think about it. Daniel can't wrestle, and I speculated in my fantasy booking for WrestleMania that what would happen would be that at WrestleMania, AJ would finally win. And after what happened tonight, AJ, you start to see way more of a heel side. I mean, he already was heel, but this could eventually lead to the club I talked about, where he could essentially beat Shane McMahon on SmackDown. And by the way, who is Daniel Bryan on the phone with at the start of the show? You don't want to pay attention to that one later. So you have AJ Styles facing Shane McMahon. What happens when he beats him? Like, if you were the commissioner of a show and you had a talent that attacked you and put you through a car, he brought you to a pay-per-view and you beat the crap out of him, what do you do with what does Shane McMahon do with AJ Styles after WrestleMania, guys? That's a big thing to keep in mind that I'm thinking right now, that if you're watching this video, maybe you didn't get to see SmackDown. The one thing that I keep hammering is everything just going to go back to hunky-dory after AJ wins? After AJ beats Shane McMahon, are they going to go, okay, that was fun? Or, like I speculated, they're going to wait till the next night or 2 nights later on SmackDown, and Daniel's like, okay, you know what? You beat him fair and square. You got your title match tonight. So the main event's built up all night. AJ Styles versus Luke or Randy or Bray, whoever it is. And then Shane's not there, and Shane arrived just like he did tonight, which I was a couple weeks off on. And then he shows up late, and then AJ, right as he's coming out, Shane's music hits. He's like, yeah, you do have a one-on-one rematch, but unfortunately, you have to be a member of the SmackDown roster, and you just got traded. So I'm just speculating that and throwing that out there, but keep that in mind right now, that I get that you hate Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles, but story-wise, it makes sense, man. Like, what would have been a better pivot for you guys that are watching this video right now trying to react to this? Like, I don't want AJ versus Shane McMahon. He's worth so much more. What would you have think creatively here? After they were always going to go Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, it was never a possibility for AJ Styles to hold the title. It was always meant to, when I said back in September, he was going to hold the title all year. Cena was going to come back, and it was going to be a transitional champion. Called that back in September. Because then you got this side of AJ Styles, the one that's like, this is bullshit. He's shooting real life. And wrestling fans, what do you love more than anything? When you can go, oh shit, he's shooting. This is real life. This is real. That's what makes it awesome, and that's what you want from AJ Styles. Some people will say they love the Ellsworth stuff. Did you guys like the Ellsworth stuff? I was messaging Pulse back and forth. The Pulse was like, I actually like the Ellsworth stuff. I like the Ellsworth stuff, but a lot of people, again, you would have been complaining that he's worth more than Ellsworth, which people were. But to become worth more than that is, there's really nobody for him to face right now. There's really no big names. And you could solve 2 stones with one problem. Seth Rollins has got a problem with Triple H, and AJ Styles has got a problem with Shane McMahon. You can do some flip-flop in there. You could send Seth over to SmackDown, solve one of your problems, and then have Seth still show up, or the Bullet Club still show up. I don't know. But let's go through the shows. We'll talk about a little bit more about that later. But he's backstage, and he made some matches tonight. We're going to have Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss. We're going to have Miz TV, and we're going to have an appearance from Randy Orton. Now, in that, AJ started off the show. He's just fucking fuming mad. He's pissed. Being the best superstar, it should have been everything laid out for him. But that's the point of SmackDown Live, which I've tried to say all year, is Raw, you have to deal with the authority wrecking everything. Well, SmackDown Live is the better show. It's the land of opportunity. Well, until WrestleMania time comes around, and then that opportunity goes to guys like John Cena, Randy Orton. It drives a fire under your skin if you're AJ Styles, and you get to see this AJ Styles that people are literally going, well, that was a great promo. That was rad. That's what I wanted to see from AJ Styles, and that's what going forward you're gonna get. We had blood tonight from Shane McMahon. I said just wait for it. If we would have had them going back and forth all the way to WrestleMania, I would have hated it. But the fact that AJ struck the first blow after last week, getting screwed out of his WrestleMania main event, is continuity and its story. If it would have been like, hey, Shane, I'm going to beat your ass at WrestleMania, instead of this tonight, I would be on your side, guys, and saying it sucks. But he took Shane out, and then Shane still kept getting up. He went up against Undertaker. It makes sense in a way. Now, unfortunately, we have a two-man booth tonight. Some people are saying, unfortunately. David Otunga's not there because he's filming a movie, and Mauro Ranallo's not there because of the weather. Which, I'll be honest with you, I love Mauro Ranallo. I think he's one of the best announcers we have. But I feel like Mauro Ranallo is a great pay-per-view announcer. Like, he's the big match moment. Like, not hearing Mamma Mia tonight and just hearing a normal called match, I really loved. And that's going to sound really weird because I'm the biggest fucking Mauro Ranallo fan, but it was just nice to have just a normal show without, like, he makes everything feel so big and impactful, like every pay-per-view. I wouldn't mind seeing him on the big shows and, like, being around all the time. I mean, I don't want him to go away. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that, but it was nice to have a break from him, and it was nice to have a break from David Otunga. I'm just glad Tom Phelps is able to face fuck. I'm not going to go there. So then we went on to Becky Lynch versus Natalya. And in the end, Becky Lynch would win with the disarmer. Now, this is all just setting up, all women are competing at SmackDown Live for the championship against Alexa Bliss, which again plays into the favor that Eva Marie's going to come back and win the title. Call it here first. I'm saying it's going to happen. When you have land of opportunity and you have AJ Styles get fucked out of his opportunity going into WrestleMania, you're going to get something you really hate at WrestleMania. And when Eva wins the title, you guys can two-sweep me later. Then we had the backstage stuff with John Cena hosting the Kids' Choice Award. And I have to say, like, Cena was pretty rad. Like, if you watch the Bella Twins channel, the backstage stuff was actually kind of cool. You see a new side of John Cena that I actually really like. So then we had the Miz TV segment. Now, Miz is out there, and he was promised, Daniel Bryan was promised a very special Miz TV, and this is what I was talking about that phone call. At the phone call, we just had Stephanie McMahon give a beating to Mick Foley about trimming the fat, making a big deal out of the show, and then there's Daniel Bryan promising a huge Miz TV. He was promised one, and then when it didn't happen, he was punished. Well, who is the manager that couldn't make a decision yesterday? Mick Foley. Who is the GM that, with an authoritative fist, the fan favorite, was able to make those decisions? Is Daniel Bryan under the control of somebody? I don't want to speculate, but I'm just saying it's why was it such a flip-flop moment for him? I mean, he was promised a thing. Or is it them picking up the Miz thing? Everybody was getting really pissed last year that Miz versus Daniel Bryan. It's never going to happen because he can't wrestle. Why are they teasing it? Why are they teasing a match they can't have? Why are they teasing a match they can't have? Because at WrestleMania, they poked the bear, and who was the one that made it happen? He didn't want it. And then, I'm sure Miz wanted a match with John Cena and Nikki Bella. But, storyline-wise, didn't want it. And Nikki tried to call out Maurice when they finally came out. Was like, listen, let's go right now. I'll whoop your ass. And Maurice was like, oh, shit. And then Daniel Bryan's music hit, and they came out. And when all that happened, look what happened. Daniel Bryan was very in control. He was very authoritative. He was very GM-like. This is the land of opportunity. He gave the shot to John Cena. And then, boom. Look what happened. He put Miz in a match. So he tied back in the storyline from when everything was being fucked around with the Miz and teasing everything. And this is what WWE has done. Like, oh my God, tonight's SmackDown tied in all the storylines. Like, for real. Like, I'm really happy with tonight's SmackDown. I'll be honest with you. We saw a lot of shots of AJ Styles waiting throughout the night, waiting for Shane McMahon to show up. And finally, when Shane McMahon did come, AJ Styles was like, "You like that?" and started beating him and everything, and then ended up throwing up him against some stuff, and then put his head through a car window, which it was weird because when he's laying on the ground, he's like, he's bleeding, was actually on the side that we saw camera side, not the side they were hiding. But when they came back from break, this is the side that was all busted open. That was a little weird, but again, fake blood, I don't care. Whether the blood is real or fake, even though if it was real blood, it would have dripped on his shirt and not just been painted right along his face. But again, it doesn't matter. It's storyline. I'm not trying to like make this a bigger deal than it is. But you had Finlay stepping in, and then you had Marie coming back in for the other shot. So I definitely dig AJ Styles taking the aggressive stance here. I mean, if you think about it, think of the gravity of the situation. This is the guy that made you be in a match to compete for your WrestleMania opportunity. Like, put the fucking fact that it's Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles out of your head. You were AJ Styles. You were the champion all year. You were kind of poked and prodded by Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon all year. You were kind of giving shit about carrying the company, the face that runs the place. And then you learned about the Royal Rumble, Randy Orton's out, and then you win an opportunity. And then Randy just comes back and beats him. And so he loses that opportunity, the land of opportunity, essentially everything that happened. You're going to fucking lose it. So the continuity to follow that up from last week, showing how AJ Styles absolutely lost it on the YouTube show, and then bringing it back up this week is week-to-week programming that Raw never used to have. SmackDown never used to happen. It used to be match after match after match. Next week, nothing would really tie in except furthering some of the bigger storylines. So going from what ended the show to what starts the show and what followed throughout the whole show is continuity. That's why SmackDown Live is so fucking great, and that's why fans love it. There aren't very many wasteful moments on SmackDown. Everything ties back in, so I loved it. Then you have Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss, and this is what I've said. It's a non-title match. It doesn't matter. Daniel Bryan lost non-title matches all the time. Randy Orton, everybody's lost non-title matches. Mickie James won with a mitt kick. And kind of a cool sequence, I thought, when Alexa Bliss went for her knees to the midsection and then to go back for the moonsault. Mickie got out of the way. She landed on her knees, popped up, mitt kick, boom, she's down. Again, you're going into WrestleMania facing all these other women, so losing here doesn't hurt her. If anybody says she's bare, like anything, like, come on, Mickey's just going to get the win. I still think Eva Marie is going to end up winning. And I joked about Mickie James. When Mickie came under the luchador costume, I actually joked about that being Eva Marie. That's when we had the whole Shane thing. And then we come back out and we have Mojo Rawley versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, Mojo Rawley versus Dolph Ziggler really doesn't really do anything. It's kind of to hype up the Battle Royale for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale. By the way, is Dolph Ziggler in that? I didn't listen very carefully. If he's in that, that kind of sucks because he's been kind of teasing the heel line all year. I don't want him in the Battle Royale. But eventually in the match, he gets thrown over the outside a couple times by Mojo, which, like, if he was in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, he would have won. Eventually, Dolph Ziggler's like, well, fuck this, and he just leaves. So you give Mojo Rawley a count-out victory, kind of make him look good. I'm not against it. Then we have more of what happened to Shane McMahon going back and forth. And then we have Randy Orton come out. Actually, before that, we had Neville give the promo, hyping the number one contender match, which, by the way, is on right now, and I'm actually got to watch the video while this is going on. Orton came out for his promo and was like with a Viper. You know, he's staying in, and he waited for his moment, and he slithered when the time was right. And that's one of the things that Randy is a tactician. He plans to get in places, although Triple H is behind it. I'm just waiting to tell you that. But Randy, his protege, I'm just telling you, Evolution's coming back. Not Evolution, but it's still part of the story. This is Triple H paying back favors this year at WrestleMania. This is my book, Triple H, The Ultimate Control for Power. And then you had Bray Wyatt come back out. And Bray started talking that he wasn't who he was. He was naked, he was stripped down, he was helpless. But then going back to his roots, and then he like lifts it up, and he feels that he kind of recentered himself. He kind of became Bray Wyatt. He reset. He did a character reset while still being Bray Wyatt, and that's what you kind of want. That's what Randy Orton's trying to do. Randy Orton evolved Bray Wyatt to become the champion, But really, it's the ploy for him to stay close. But really, he's just elevating Bray fucking Wyatt as the champion. Even if he wins the title or if Luke gets involved or whatever, he still is elevating Bray Wyatt, and that's the big key here. And it's rad as hell. Then we go to American Alpha versus the Usos. Rad. And here's why. It looks like we're getting a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, and that's exactly what it should be. Well, the triple threat is happening on SmackDown because all three of those tag teams are the ones that deserve to be in the main events, or be in a main event for the tag team titles, or the pre-show, whichever one it is, between Cesaro, Enzo, and Big Cass, Sheamus, and Luke and Carl. On SmackDown, it's always been, maybe the Ascension sneak in, but for the most part, it's been the Usos versus Chad and Jason Jordan. That's what it's always been. They're the ones that took them out before the tournament with a knee. They were put out of action. The Usos would win the titles. So tonight, what I was talking about with SmackDown, coming back in and looping everything in, the fact that in the main event, when he's going for the electric chair, he's got him up top, and then the Usos come in, push him off the top rope, and then Chad's knee gets stuck in the actual turnbuckle as he falls off. It's like, dude, they just came back to that. As a writer, as a booker, I went, fuck, I recognize that. I popped. Everybody else may have just saw him throwing off the apron, but I caught that little thing of Chad specifically leaving his leg there to get caught up in the ropes, because how did they get taken out for the titles before they won them? With the ankle. Like, that's good writing to me. So the Usos won. And the Usos are going to possibly go on to face American Alpha, most likely, whether or not the Ascension or anybody else gets in there. It's always been about American Alpha versus the Usos, so I hope it's just those two teams. I hope they tear down the fucking house. And then after the match, which it cut too soon, Shane McMahon comes out. He's going through Gorilla. He finally comes out and he says, listen, if AJ didn't have an opponent, he does now. And then right as the crowd's going, woo, Chrisley. The Chrisley logo popped up, and I went, oh, god damn it. Now, I thought they were, it looks like it was just a time management thing, because SmackDown usually does cut away right at 9 o'clock. And they're usually very good about time management being done at 8:59, 9 o'clock. Part of me was thinking, did that get cut off so they wouldn't get any boos about it being AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon, with people going, fuck, I don't want AJ versus Shane. But you heard the crowd, guys. As much as people don't want it, the story makes sense, and the crowd popped for it. So that's where the review is going to end, guys. I dug the fuck out of SmackDown Live. It kept pushing all the storylines and made stuff tie back in. I definitely give it a 2 sweet tonight. I'm going to give it two sweets. I'm going to give it a double 2 sweet. I definitely did enjoy it. Let me know what you guys thought about SmackDown in the comment section below. Do you like Shane versus AJ now that you saw that AJ actually went out of his way to punish the guy that fucked him out of an opportunity? Is it making any more sense, or are you guys still really hurt the fact that AJ's wrestling Shane? Just let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, it's your boy Tubby. We'll see you all later.